Hello, everybody.
Hello.
It's time for some Saturday WikiTree fun. It is. Yeah. We have lots of people hanging out in the chat already. Let's check out who's here. Let's see. Brian wins the whoopee buttons for being here first. It's Q-Fly is here. Amy Gilpin. Victor Rose is here. Hillary Gadsby. Vicky's here. John Steiner. Not here alive. He's not live. He's alive, but he's not here live. That's okay. Let's see. Sharon Hayes, stop it, Greg. Lynette Jester's here. And Azur's here. Patricia Jackson's here. Chris Ferriello. Hey, who killed my applause? No.
Because we can't hear the greetings above the applause.
Lisa Gervais. Let's see.
There's a delay.
Mary Sleppy's here. Chris Wine is here. Hey, Janet Isles. Yay. Susie Carter's here. Susan Anderson is here. Kathy Bauer. Hillary King. Woo! No. Woo.
And everyone who's watching after the fact too.
Yeah, those people too.
Those people too, yeah.
Question for you too.
Oh.
Were your parents musicians as well?
Yeah, my mother played piano.
And Betsy, what do you eat? Betsy, you're not supposed to eat on air.
I was sneezing and I muted like a good livecaster.
You were sneezing. Oh, I'm sorry. It looked like you were chewing. Yeah. I'm sorry. I called you out for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I apologize. So was your mom or your dad or your grandparents musicians?
Oh, Betsy? I don't think Betsy heard the question.
Betsy, were your parents musicians as well?
My mother was not. I do.
My dad whistles.
Mm-hmm. Oh, your dad whistles.
Yeah. But my brother, sister, and I are all musicians.
Oh, nice.
My mother, my grandmother, my grandfather, and my grandfather always tells a story about growing up in Appalachia. And the only entertainment, and I think I've said this about 1,000 times on the show, I just say Appalachia biscuit.
You did, biscuits.
Is that all they had? They didn't have a radio up in the mountains. They didn't have TV, so they played music on the porch. So that was their Saturday night entertainment.
Yeah, I remember often growing up, we'd have aunts and uncles, and there's one set of cousins. Their grandmother lived with them. She wasn't my grandmother's, but she was amazing on the piano, and my uncle played the fiddle, and it was always a wonderful house party. But when I connected with my biological family, my sister gave me some hymn books because one grandmother and great grandmother were both piano players and had hymn books because they played for their church. So that's kind of neat that genetically, followed down.
Yeah, are you predisposition? So Greg and Betsy, were there teachers in your family? Oh, that's so funny. You both have the same look on your face.
I know.
Okay.
No, I think I was the first teacher, but lots of nurses.
What about you, Betsy?
Lots of doctors and nurses, some ministers, lots of farmers, but not really so many teachers.
So, well, and I'm asking all of this because you know what it is.
Yes, the question of the week.
So the question of the week is there an occupation that was in your family for generations? And some people kind of caught on to what the question was about.
Mm-hmm.
Some people were being pretty funny. And there's a best answer. I'm going to go ahead and show that. Oh, where did it go? Oh, I'm on the wrong page.
Ooh.
Here, the best answer was family history. Invited to Australia to manage vast estates for the English aristocracy. They were actually convicts. And so that's pretty funny. That is funny. Okay.
That's good.
And we had one, if you like, let's switch my screen. If you like statistical analysis,
Ooh.
which, you know, mathematicians in your family, ship ahoy, mateys, all aboard. So we had one WikiTreeer who went down through her lines and actually identified and wrote this out for us.
Wow.
Like crazy. So, General at Sea, Sir Anthony Dean, naval architect, engineer and son of Anthony Dean, survived a 6-month voyage in a small sloop from India to New York. Remember, I said I'm going on a train on Monday for a business trip, and they had me in a backward-facing seat. And I'm like, I called to change that because it would be like a vomit comet the whole way, not compared to the vomit comet that would be taking the sloop from India to New York. No. So naval enlistment in World War I. She goes on and she gives sea captains, master mariners, then sailors. My goodness, the work that Marion Cerruti put in. Not even in she doesn't even talk about the story about the elopement from the Bahamas to the US in the little boat that her parents or grandparents eloped.
Oh my goodness.
took a boat. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. So
nice. Thanks, Marion.
Marion inspired me. So let me get this other piece of information up.
There should be an award for that answer.
Yeah, really.
Most thorough.
I want to share screen and I want to share this. There we go. Look at that. Can you see that? That up?
If we add to stage.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there we go. So, in honor of Marion Cerruti's beautiful answer, I went through and I tried to pull out all of the answers like that were multiple answers. Marion, I didn't have to because I kind of grouped them together. I said brick, stonemason, carpenter, cabinet maker. So I grouped some of the gold, silversmiths, master stonemasons, weavers. So these are the occupations that people mentioned were handed down for generations. So agricultural laborers, barber got 1 vote, a bell founder got 1 vote, brick stonemasons, 3 or 4 or 5, carpenter, cabinet maker. There were quite a few of those, including in my family. And that carpenter, cabinet maker in my family turned into architects. Carters. Everybody know what a carter is? A carter is somebody who carries stuff around in a boat or a cart or a carriage or whatever.
Or at the railway station. Actually, I do have quite a number of ancestors who worked for the railway, and my great-grandfather was listed as a carter.
Wow.
In the census.
Well, I put railroad people in their own little thing, but this is carters. These are the people like UPS would be a carter. Yeah. So carters, civil servants had a few, like 7 or 8. Crystal makers were in there. Drainage pipe makers. There was one family that said that they made drainage pipes for generations. And that's important. If you live in an agricultural area, those farmers want to be able to control the moisture in their fields. So those drainage pipes were important. Electricians, engineers, farmer. Look at that. That was the most answered farmer.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Farmer. So fisherman was in there. Not so much so for Marion Cerruti because her were military, but I've kind of put that off in mariners. So gold and silversmiths, husbandry, where you're taking care of the bigger animals or the animals on the farm, not necessarily being the farmer. Iron and metal workers. That's the blacksmiths. What happened?
I don't know.
Hello. I lost my whole thing there. Let's go back to here. All right. That's crazy. All right, there we go.
And we're back.
And we're back.
And we're back. So fishermen, goldsmith, husbandry, iron metal workers, lawyers was very small. Leather tanning, legislators, lawyers, leather tanning, and legislators all went together. Leo, law enforcement officers was a few more. Librarians got a good one. Lithographer one. Lumbermen got a few. If you were from the Ottawa area, your lumberman list would have been humongous because that was the industry here forever. Mariners got a big boost, and I believe Marion Cerruti helped to boost that. Master stonemasons, medical doctors. There weren't medical and dental professionals listed very much, but there were a few. Military, there weren't as many military people as I thought there would be. But I guess we could lump the military in with those mariners as well, right? Millwrights, people who own the mill, did the stuff. Miners got a lot. Coal miners, gold miners were in there. So opera singers.
Wow.
So fun. Somebody had opera singers. Outlaws. I'm surprised there were a few more of those. Painter, like a painter. And wallpaper came up. Wallpaper hangers. Look at the number of wallpaper hangers.
What?
Yeah. Okay, so that I should have put those together, but I didn't. Postmasters were quite a popular handed down occupation. Because you lived in a small area, and as a kid, you'd probably be helping your dad sort the mail on Saturday.
And then just automatically take over.
Yeah, right? and then automatically take over. Like druggists or pharmacists working in the pharmaceutical company. Pottery makers got in there. Preachers. I said preachers because the very first
preachers.
Yeah, the very first answer was minister. It was preacher, and that was from Appalachia.
Of course.
Let's see, pottery makers, preachers, printers. I was surprised that there weren't more printers, like people who maybe made books or bound books or did printed newspapers and stuff like that. Ranchers, railroad men was pretty big. Railroad men, ranchers, shoemakers got a couple, shopkeepers, software engineers, and tailors were all kind of ones. Teachers got a big nod. Wallpaper hangers, like I said, there were quite a few of those, and weavers. So if you look at it, the most popular occupation handed down generation after generation on WikiTree, according to WikiTreeers themselves, is farmer number one. Number two is mariners or seafarers. Number three would be railroad men. Number four would be postmaster, and following closely behind that is teachers. So that's pretty cool. Those are the answers for the question of the week. If Greg or Betsy, for some reason I can never upload an image into G2G. If you'd like to upload that image for me into G2G, that would be great.
Send it to me. I'll upload it.
Can you grab it? Can you do a screen grab?
Oh, well, it would be pretty tiny. Can you do a screen grab and Discord?
I will absolutely do a screen grab and send that to you.
And I have to say, I'm looking at this and thinking, you've been influenced by Greg. This is like something Greg would do.
Very impressive.
Yes.
Shipbuilders and mechanics didn't make the list. Amy says that her grandfather, great-grandfather, and father were all railroad men. I had a railroad man in my family. Opera singer, but I don't know that was June Book's answer.
Maybe she meant my cousin?
Yeah, I think she meant my cousin, but I think she was commenting because you were talking about opera singer, and she said, "Oh, I have a cousin who's an opera singer," but that wasn't maybe the most common one in her.
My English ancestors were mostly miners. Hillary Gadsby says mine would be agricultural laborers, mariners, and shoemakers. Vicky's got armed forces listed. Amy's got Scottish ancestors were number one shoemakers, two gardeners, and three farmers. And, like I have a Hunt surname in my family, and it's supposed to be a guild name that the Hunt surname originated with the people who were taking care of the animals and the hunts that went on during the landlord's hunting season. They were the hunt masters or whatever. Road agents, June Butka says. And let's see. Yeah, you're going to get a lot of farmers in southern Italy and Quebec. And yes, I said Carter. Tanners. Oh, Carter. Yeah, like a computer Carter. No.
They were saying that a Carter with a D had to do with wool.
Yeah, combing wool.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So farmers. Oh, I like this, Chris. Yeah, most squatters. Is that a profession? Squatting a profession? And people were talking about the question that I asked about the musician part is Beat says, yeah, my mother plays piano, my brother plays guitar, I like singing, so do my niece and nephews. You guys should start a family band. Let's see. My mother learned to play piano. My two sisters sang. One of two brothers played sax and piano. I took a year each of violin, cello, and alto clarinet.
Alto clarinet? I love that.
Oh, interesting.
That's an interesting jump.
Yeah.
Sax, piano, or violin, cello to alto clarinet. I can understand a jump from flute to sax or sax to flute.
That's
the fingerings are the same. Interested in sports. Let's see. All right. So that was 8 generations of soldiers.
Wow.
From Vicky. Irish. I can't say how many soldiers in Blanco, Spanish, and Chile. And Vicky's joining us from the coast of Chile this morning.
Yes.
And it's Chile in Ottawa.
Is
so
it
we
Chile
have something in common. And Chris says, a guitarist. I've got some musically inclined family. Amy Gilpin says guitar. Ah, guess what? Eowyn, did you mess up my screen share? Did you mess my screen share up? All right.
Remotely?
All right.
Magical elf powers.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So that's the question of the week. So
excellent.
Check out I want to out somebody.
Uh-oh.
Last week, the question was, do you have any surprises in your in your answers? And I often will take the question of the week image that is posted, whether Eowyn or Az or whoever posts it. I take it and I share it on social media. Well, this past week, the South Carolina Genealogical Society picked up that graphic and shared that on their Facebook page. Or no, it was Lawrence County, one of the South Carolina Genealogy, not the official group, but like the unofficial genealogist group. And one of the answers we got was from one of the most renowned and well-known revolutionary, like the rebel side of the revolutionary side, those Minutemen. Durant Ashmore is such a well-known person in South Carolina for the Revolutionary War and the, not basically taking sides, but you would almost assume that he was a revolutionary. He found out, yes, he did, that he had British military ancestors. And they were loyalists. And I said, I'm going to out you, Durant. I'm going to. He's like, do it. So not only are we following along, other people are picking up our stuff and following along as well. We love it.
Yeah.
And I do respect Durant, and we'll forgive you for that loyalist. I have a loyalist. I do. All right. That's the question of the week.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Send me that graph, Mags, and I'll post it.
That is very nice. I really appreciate that graph collection.
Yeah, I will send it right now.
That's great. Super. So our question of the week, or our profiles of the week, I should say, not question, is about, it's framed in the form of a question, like Jeopardy. Which famous James are you most closely connected to? And so we got lots of James. And this was prompted, of course, by the recent passing of tropical rock singer Jimmy Buffett. But we have lots of other James to celebrate. But starting with Jimmy Buffett here, James William Buffett, who is my 11th cousin, apparently. And he was born on Christmas Day, 1946, in Pascagoula, Jackson County, Mississippi, and passed away just the beginning of this month, 1st of September 2023, at only 76 in Sag Harbor, Suffolk, New York. I love his quote, "If there's a heaven for me, I'm sure it has a beach attached."
I have to interject that my entire life, I got played Margaritaville.
Oh, Mags comes from Marg, right?
Margaret, yeah.
Yeah, Margaret.
Wasted
Margaritaville.
away in Margaritaville.
That's right, yeah. And now, I love Margaritaville. Grew up listening to it all the time, but it wasn't until Google came along and I actually saw the lyrics that I knew that one line that everyone misrepresents. I thought it says, "I found my lost jigger and saw." Do you know the line I'm referring to? Yeah.
What are the true words?
Shaker of salt, or shaker and salt.
Do you know when he died, a lot of people
it.
posted pictures of a salt shaker?
Yeah.
As if, hey, we found your salt shaker.
Oh yeah, my lost shaker of salt. Yes. Yeah. But of course, growing up, I didn't know what a margarita was, or what was in a margarita, or that salt was anywhere important to a margarita. And jigger and saw sounded like something, a piece of equipment that he might have lost.
Yeah, no. Like a jig and a saw. Yeah, no.
Yeah, no.
Looking for my lost shaker of salt.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, did you know? Could you understand the words from the first time you heard that?
Yeah. Yeah.
You could. Eh?
And I heard it so many times.
Well, yeah, you would have. Yeah. Anyways, of course, yeah, American singer, songwriter, actor, author, businessman, known for his island music, especially the songs Margaritaville and Cheeseburger in Paradise. I don't know that one. He was married in 1969, and then unfortunately divorced in 72, and he married again in 77. Lived in Key West and then Los Angeles. He was part owner of Miami Fort Myers Miracle minor league baseball team, which I thought was interesting, and kind of passed away again in 76. So, there we go. Jimmy Buffett. So I thought, and I had decided to do this before Meg showed us her lovely graph, but I thought that we'd play a fun game as we go through. And let me just find, there we go. That we play a game, How James Are You? So let's just, how Jamesy are you? So we are going to score a point for all the Jameses. So in terms of places, parents, children, or ancestors. So for Jimmy Buffett here, let's see what I can do. If I do this.
Yes, yeah, this is a highly polished, slick show you're watching.
Okay, so he has no James in his place names, but he does. His father's name is a James. His father is a James, and he doesn't have any children listed, so he doesn't get any points for children. But let's look at his ancestors. How many Jameses are there? Let's see. I have to spell James right.
1, 2.
1, 2, 3. 3 Jameses in the ancestors list. Okay.
That's funny. You can tell we don't have a lot for content this week.
Oh, we do content, but it's just so James. It's just, I don't know.
How James are you?
How James are you?
I have a disclaimer. I don't have any games for my segments. No graphs, no games.
Games, graphs, yeah.
And you're closest, Betsy. You're closest to James Cooper.
Oh,
and then Greg and I are closest. Of course, we're closest to Jesse James.
To the outlaw Jesse James.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. But James Fenimore Cooper is a distant cousin of mine, apparently.
Yoke says nope, 0 James.
0 James. Yeah. So, what's your own personal James score in the chat? That would be
Crystal
interesting.
says my last name at birth is James. Does that count? It
That
does.
counts.
I would
That
say
counts.
so. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one of our people is PD James. So there you go.
Right.
And Jesse James, last name's James. So
Yeah.
James anywhere. I'll take middle names. Anyways, born 15th of September. Oh, he could have been one of your September profiles. Look at born and died in September.
Celebrate September.
Yeah.
Here's one for you. Ellen just says, I just signed on and you guys are talking about margaritas. What did I miss? It's Saturday. Anything goes.
Oh my,
It's a house
anything
party.
goes. So from September 1789 to September 1851 at age 61. Of course, he was an American novelist. He wrote historical romances depicting colonial and indigenous characters, and of course, most famous, The Last of the Mohicans. So he was.
Hey, take it easy, Betsy, with that margarita.
It's in a Wiki Games mug.
Wiki Games mug, nice, very good. So he's born James Cooper. He only added the middle name Fenimore in 1826, and that was after his parents had both passed. His father passed in 1809, his mother in 1817, and you can see that her maiden name was actually Fenimore.
But bump. The last of the mojitos. What?
But before, after his father passed away, he inherited a fortune. Then he got married the next year, and they had 7 children altogether. Only 5 are listed here in WikiTree, but a number of them did pass away young. So I'm not. I wonder if one of those are one of the ones that are missing. Must be, right, because all of these are all the ones that survived a number of years.
Oh,
listed.
Rags. Solo cups.
Oh,
There's shot cups. I got them for New Year's Eve. We
so
still
interesting.
have not derailed, Greg. We're trying.
No, I'm still going. Yeah, I'm ignoring the fact that you're trying to distract me. He was originally known as James Cooper, as I'd mentioned. They claim here that he attempted to change his last name to Fenimore so he could inherit some property from his mother's family, but it was refused. And then he decided to just include it as a hyphenated last name and then as a middle name, Fenimore. But then there's a note added here, which is interesting. There's no hard evidence that Cooper sought to change his last name to Fenimore. So that information is somewhere that got into the profile, but no hard evidence. Like there's no sources, I guess, that attached to that except for hearsay or family history, I'm guessing. So that's interesting. What I really like about this profile, and I love about WikiTree is that you can comment on a profile, and not a lot of people do that. But so there's the comment from Abby letting the profile managers know that this profile is going to be featured, so you can tidy it up or add more to it if you want to. But below that, we have a WikiTreeer who gives a reading recommendation. How cool is that?
Nice.
Read his novel, The Spy, and then also see, and then she gives other references, things to read. So how cool is that? So if you like one of his novels, check out this one.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool. So how James is James Fenimore Cooper? Well, let's see. His place names don't have any Jameses in it. His parents are not James. He does not have any children named James. But let's check out his ancestors. 1, 2, 3 ancestors. He also gets a score. He gets a score of 3 in the ancestors column.
No, Ellen, you did not miss James the 6th yet.
No, we haven't got to him.
We may never get to him.
Oh, we will. James Dean. We've already talked about James Dean on a previous live cast. But of course, he's one of the most famous Jameses around. Born 1931, died tragically, of course, in a car accident in 1955 at the young age of 24. On the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and his car was cursed, and there's a description here, and we talked about that in great detail in the last live cast, so I won't go into it again. So let's just do how James is James Dean. No James in his place names. His parents were not named James. He didn't have any descendants, but let's see about ancestors. And it looks like none.
Wow.
He's not very James at all. That's sad. I guess because he's such a rebel, he broke the mold. There we go. Anyway, James Harvey Ganong, a Canadian, and a cousin of mine, apparently. Born 9th of January 1841 in Springfield, Kings County, New Brunswick. Passed away the 21st of April 1888 at the age 47 in St. Stephen, Charlotte, New Brunswick. And his claim to fame is that he was a businessman, and he and his brother co-founded the Ganong Brothers Chocolate Making Company, which me and my family visited when we were traveling across Canada one year. And also the St. Croix Soap Manufacturing Company in 1878. So he and his brother Gilbert formed the chocolate company, and then 5 years later, they started the St. Croix Soap Manufacturing Company. Apparently the two brothers split. The other brother kept the chocolate, and this guy, James, kept the soap company. So there we go. And then we have lists of all the different sources and stuff.
I noticed that Betsy has made her tea bag paper very prominent so that we are not confused as to what is in her cup.
That's right. That is correct. Good call, Mags.
Okay.
Whole tea.
Good call. There we go. So James Ganong gets 1 point for having a son, James. So they give him there. And let's check out his ancestors, shall we? How many Jameses are going to show up here? 1, 2. I love how it's so easy to count the highlights. Just 2.
So you can do Control Find on the ancestor page?
Yep.
You can do that on any page if you
can
have
do that on any page.
browser.
Okay.
Yeah. Like it shows up. You see, it shows all the Jameses everywhere.
Right.
And even if I scroll down the page, you can see every time James.
Are you keeping track of the people who are identifying themselves as having a James quotient?
I'm not looking at the comments.
Okay, all right.
Someone else is going to have to manage the comments while I go through. Otherwise, how distracted do you think I can get?
So June, Hillary, and Chris so far have Jameses.
And me,
and
my dad was a James.
Oh, and I have I had a John James.
John James. Neat. James Scott Bumgarner, also more commonly now known as Garner, changed his name. So his father was Weldon Warner Bumgarner, which probably was Baumgartner originally from Germany. And his mother was Mildred Scott Meek. He born on the 7th of April, 1928 in Norman, Oklahoma, and passed away the 19th of July in 2014. He's the youngest of 3 children. His mother died when he was 5 years old, and his brothers were sent to live with relatives. He joined the Merchant Marine. You know him most commonly, James Garner, as probably either Rockford from the Rockford Files.
I love that show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Most recently, The Notebook.
Maverick.
But before that, I was going to say, that.
So hot in that Maverick outfit.
There he is.
Saying.
Maverick, Brett Maverick.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
I
don't know if I've seen an episode of Maverick.
Was that the Maverick look?
Well, I'm thinking more of his gunslinger sling in his pants and his bum, and
I really, he was one of
We're
my.
going to get a bad rating here, Mark. We're going to talk about margaritas and bums, and oh my goodness.
What? Yeah, the girls got to notice.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, Maverick was his first hit. That was in the 60s sometime, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Most promising. Oh, so here's the awards. That's kind of neat there with his Maverick there. Most promising male newcomer, Declaration date, Barbers at the Gate, Rockford Files in 77, Promise, and it doesn't list.
He didn't win anything for Maverick. He should have won something just for the way his pants fit.
A costume award. Best wearing of a costume.
Best wearing of a gun holster.
Okay.
Gun. Yeah.
Oh, he got a Primetime Emmy Award. There you go.
Oh, for Maverick! Yay!
Yay. See?
Is there anything about costumes for that?
Doesn't say what category.
Everybody in the chat is dumbfounded that I'm talking about how nice James Gardner's costume was. They're not saying a word.
No. But he also was a race car driver. He drove the pace car at the Indianapolis 500. That's kind of cool. Played for a Pittsburgh Pirates farm team, so a baseball player, and golf as well. So that's very cool. Neat. So James, let's see. How James are you? No parents, children, or place names, but let's check out the ancestors, shall we? We have one ancestor for James Garner. Okay. Next, we have Jimmy Hoffa. James Riddle Hoffa. Interesting, considering his death is still a riddle. Really? And he was born on.
That's weird. I never knew his middle name was Riddle.
No. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. And he's like the biggest riddle in the world.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Next to Tom Riddle, from, one who we shall not speak his name, Harry Potter.
Yes, Harry Potter. Yes.
Yeah.
I thought of
Voldemort.
Yep.
Okay. Born on Valentine's Day in 1913 in Brazil Township. Now, how cool is that? I had no idea that there would have been a township named after Brazil in Indiana. So, but there we go. Brazil Township, 1913. Passed away about the 30th of July, 1975, in Detroit, Michigan, was the day that he disappeared. I guess the assumption is he didn't last long after getting kidnapped and taken away. So, anyways, yeah, 3 siblings. Then it has a list here. Now, interesting. So in the body of the biography itself, it basically is a brief summary of his life. He was an American labor leader, and he was a criminal convict. He was the president of the Teamsters from the mid-50s to the mid-60s. He wielded considerable influence in that position. And then he was convicted of attempted bribery of a grand juror, and he served nearly a decade in prison. Well known in popular culture for, of course, his mysterious circumstances surrounding his unexplained disappearance and presumed death. So that's all that's officially in the biography. But then you go on to the research notes, and the research notes go on like 3 times as long with a lot more details, but not a lot of sources added to them. So anyways, if you want to find out all the dirt on Jimmy Hoffa, read the research notes.
Cool. He's a notable for sure, right?
He's definitely got to be a notable.
Yeah.
Yeah, notable connection. There we go. Yeah. So,
how James is he?
How James is he? He doesn't get any James on the main page. Let's check out his ancestors. And I don't see a single James jumping out at me here.
Wow.
Jimmy, you're not very James. Oh, but what about Jesse James? How James is Jesse James?
My 7th cousin.
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's my closest as well. 17 degrees, but he's my 23rd cousin, way far away that way. Born the 5th of September, 1847 in Kearney, Missouri, United States. Died 3rd of April, 1882 at the age of 34, St. Joseph, not St. James, but St. Joseph, Buchanan, Missouri. Of course, he was one of the most notorious outlaws in the American West, robbing trains and leading the James the Younger gang. He was born in Kearney, as we said, son of a Baptist minister. And as a young man, he was known to be kind and religious. Then he served in the Rangers. After the Centralia massacre, he was wounded during the surrender at the end of the U.S. Civil War. He and his brother were part of a group called Bushwhackers. They were Confederate guerrillas in the state of Missouri and Kansas, and he was known as being the keenest and cleanest fighter. I'm not sure what that means by being the keenest.
He was very well known for being very clean. Like, he would bathe every day, and he would dress to the nines. No matter what he was doing, he was always dressed to the nines.
Yeah, that's what it means. Okay. But then, of course, after the war, he and his brothers started the robbery, the hitting the banks, the stagecoaches, and their crimes were brutal. So
he just took the bushwhacking and took it into civilian life.
Yeah. And of course, then he was betrayed basically by someone who had joined his gang at the end, who killed him. But this is interesting. They've listed all of the known banks that he hit, and where they did know the amount, they put the dollar value there. Like, that's pretty cool. I mean, it's not cool that all these crimes were committed.
It's interesting somebody did that research.
Yes, it's interesting that somebody did that research. That's right. But wow, like $60,000 in 1866?
That's a lot.
Huge.
Yeah.
Amazing. Anyways, yeah, killed by the coward Robert Ford, as the movie title was called, and as his cemetery, the epitaph on his headstone says, "Murdered by a traitor and a coward whose name is not worthy to appear here."
Haven't they exhumed him to determine if he's really buried there?
Oh yeah, because there was.
I thought
they thought he might have faked his death, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That they may have. That could be. Yeah. Of course, that epitaph is from his point of view, which I guess it's his gravestone, so you'd put his point of view on it. I'm sure Robert Ford had a different point of view. So, anyways, so how James is Jesse James? Let's see. Well, what do we see? He doesn't have any. Well, if we count a point for his father's last name.
Did he rob any banks in James City?
Oh, we can give him bonus points for that. Let's see.
Yep.
James. Doesn't look like, not on this list here.
Okay.
Going to his ancestors.
He has a DNA match descendant that's a James.
Oh, okay.
One.
Okay. Now that's interesting. Let's search for James. There we go.
1, 2, 3. Well, if you consider his surname.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. And how far back does it go?
But then on
5,
here,
6,
5,
7.
6, 7, 8.
8.
Yeah, I'd say the people who have the surname James have a distinct advantage in your game.
They do,
Yes.
but it only goes along. It would only be along the paternal line, so that's really only 4 extra.
But
anyway.
How far back does it go? Hit that button, baby.
Oh well, let's be. I haven't gone back extra long on the others, so I'll
that would
go 8.
Unfair advantage.
So he's 8.
Well, but we can look and see how far. We could have added potentially another 2. Oh, Elizabeth James. I wonder, was she really a James?
Ooh, I bet it's a cousin.
Yeah.
And French. That's interesting.
And French.
Sorry.
Married Bob Italian. Interesting. Okay, there we go.
So we're going to give him 8.
P.D.
Based
James.
on 4 generations.
Yeah, we're just playing it.
Okay.
Yeah. Phyllis Dorothy James White is known as P.D. James, the English novelist and life peer, known as P.D. James. I didn't realize she was a peer of the realm. But her series of detective novels featured the police commander and poet Adam Daglish. I think I may have read one of those stories, but now I'm thinking I should go back and read the whole series.
I'm thinking I should too.
Have you read P.D. James?
I have, but I need to go and read the whole thing. I like reading an author from the beginning to end to see how their voice.
Yeah.
That's a cool project. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just add that to all my other projects.
That's right. Yeah. I read the Sue Grafton series, the
M for Murder. Yeah.
Yeah. But
never
she
read
she
those.
died before she got Z done.
I know.
Her last one was Y, and she didn't do
Ah.
Z. Can't believe it. Anyways, but we digress. We're talking about P.D. James here.
We digress? Do we really?
digress. Hardly. And she was a baroness, Baroness James of Holland Park, born on the 3rd of August, 1920. And her parent, she passed away at the age of 94 on the 27th of November, 2014, residing in Oxfordshire, England. And what's nice in her, they have a bibliography, so they list her novels. She got some miscellaneous ones that were not Adam Daglish mysteries, and then a bunch of the Adam Daglish. And look at that range. Her first one was published in 1962 up to 2008 being the last one. Now I wonder, that's not the one. I think the one I read was Death of an Expert Witness. That name just jumps out at me, so I'm pretty sure that's the one I read. And I can't remember much about it because I think it was part of a book club from high school or something. I wonder if she closed off, if she knew that was going to be the last one she wrote, and it sort of ended his career, or like ended things nicely. So if anyone knows, I'd be curious to know that. Not that's going to stop me, but it's nice when when a series is actually tied off with a bow, and
right, for sure.
And people do that.
I confess I have not read any P.D. James, but I do love mysteries. So
there you go. There we go. So let's see how James is P.D. James. Well, we'll get points on the paternal line. So let's just check that out. So we have 1, 2, 3.
Oh,
that's it.
Wow.
And
I think it would also depend on how thoroughly they're researched on WikiTree.
Exactly.
Yep. And that's only goes back 3. So.
Okay. James Earl Jones.
Oh, I want him to be the voice of all of my gadgets.
Oh, I know.
Max, turn left.
That would be great. There must be a GPS company that's used his voice in the.
I want it so bad.
Oh yes. Or you know what? only have his voice for when you make a wrong turn, or recalculate, or
turn around
when he's holding you.
What are you doing?
Yes. Of course, his career spanned more than 60 years. He was born in the 30s. He's still alive, so it's a private. The exact date is private until you read the bio when it's given away. Born January 17th, just the day after me, 1931, different year.
Wait, stop. Full stop. Victor, I have Waze. I don't see James Earl Jones. If you have James Earl Jones and Waze, tell me. I need that. Sorry. I haven't been able to find him. I haven't found him. I have looked and looked.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Born in a tiny
really
community
important
in
things to talk about sometimes.
Mississippi. Yeah, I know. That's great. Anyways,
how James is somebody.
How James is he? Yeah. He joined the Great African American Migration, married actress Julian Hendricks, and then actress Cecilia Hart. But of course, most famous for the role of his voice being a basso profundo for Darth Vader. But he's done lots of things. I love him in Field of Dreams, and I think we've talked about him. We've had him on as on previous LiveCasts. So we will go straight to how James is James, and he doesn't have any siblings or children listed. So we're relying on ancestors. Come on, Jameses. And
None.
James.
Zippity-doo-dah. Is there a DNA tester there? No.
James the First of England or James the Sixth of Scotland.
And Ellen Altenberg, who's in the chat, said she worked on this.
Yeah.
It's her
nice.
So we get to hear. Wait, where's my sound effect?
Oh.
Here we go.
Nice.
Ta-da!
I do notice Chris in the chat. Chris in the chat did mention that I forgot to mention that he's also the voice of Mufasa in The Lion King. James Earl Jones.
That makes sense. Yes.
Yeah. So that's
Az says that she's the fourth cousin's 13th removed.
Of this James?
Of that James.
Okay.
Wow.
I'm the 8th cousin, but also 15 times removed. So yeah. Now we've talked about his family a lot. We've highlighted profiles of his mother, Mary Queen of Scots. We've highlighted the profile of his cousin Elizabeth I, who preceded him on the throne of England, and talked about Charles I and Charles II. But I don't think we
5th cousin.
Who's 5th cousin?
Mine.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Wow. But I don't think we've actually ever talked about him specifically directly. I don't think we looked at his. So yeah, he was the son of Mary, Queen of Scots. And when her husband, his father, passed away suddenly and mysteriously, she was accused of being involved with his murder. So she had to flee Scotland pretty quickly. So that's why he became the King of Scotland early on in 67, when he was only born in 66. So he was still a babe. So of course they had to appoint regents to look after the kingdom until he became he was of age to rule. But that's why he was king for so long of Scotland, which is interesting. But eventually, after Elizabeth I passed away without any heirs, he inherited the English throne as well. So he united the two kingdoms, and so became known as James I of Scotland and England, and I think Ireland. There, it says, where does it say? England, Wales, France, and Ireland. Let's not be too greedy. So there we go. Now, since we've talked a lot about the rest of his family and sort of all the politics around that, we don't need to go into that. But one thing we hadn't talked about before is that he developed an interest in witchcraft. Isn't that interesting? And he came to believe that he and his new bride had been personally targeted by witches who conjured dangerous storms to try to kill them during their voyages across the North Sea. And part of that is because
it couldn't have been those Irish people.
Well, no, because I think it's on the other side of the right, the North Sea.
Oh, that's true.
Because his wife was from Denmark? Yes. And they first got married by proxy in August. Here it is. Where is it there? He got married by proxy in August, and actually she was supposed to come over on the ship in September, but it was too rocky or too stormy, so she didn't. So he sailed to her, picked her up in November, and came back. And I guess he thought the witches were persecuting him. And he actually attended many of the trials and personally interviewed some of the witches. So that's not really a good thing.
And this is the time of year where you really point out that the witch caused that, whatever.
Yeah. So it's an interesting thing. I don't think it's a good thing, but it's an interesting thing.
Yeah, it is.
I agree.
He even wrote a dissertation on witchcraft and necromancy titled Demonology.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
How James is he?
How James is he? Yeah, let's check that out.
That's going to be my new catchphrase to get you.
How James are you?
How James is he?
So you know what? We don't have no James there. Children named James. His first son, this is sad. His first son, who was the Prince of Wales and the heir to the throne, passed away at only age 18 of typhoid. So that's too bad. That's why it was Charles, his fourth born, second son, who actually took on after him as Charles I. They have a Robert the Bruce in the family, but no James. So let's check out the ancestors. How many Jameses are in?
Oh, 1, 2, wait, 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. Oh, on the Stewart line, they're all James Stewart. Look at that.
Okay, so he's 3.
He gets a 3. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. And we just have one more. The last one is James Kraft, a Canadian. This is great. Born in Welland, Ontario, Stevensville, Welland County. 11th of December, 1874, passed away at the age of 78 on 16th of February, 1953, in Illinois, Chicago, Illinois. Your neck of the woods, Betsy.
Yeah, I even have the Chicago mug this morning.
Oh, neat. So he's managed by the Canadian Project because he's a notable, and he was the founder of the Kraft Foods Incorporated.
Sure.
And the first person to patent processed cheese. Kraft slices. That's so great. Now, do you call them Kraft slices in the States?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you have Kraft dinner?
Yeah, mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese, yeah.
They call it KD here.
Yeah, we just shortened it.
I want to point out that June Booker wants to win the How James Are You award. She has 19 in her.
19 Jameses. Wow, that's pretty impressive.
And then she's 19 from Kraft.
Wow.
Today is go buy a ticket today and put.
Yeah, that's right. That's amazing. So yeah, he was born in Ontario.
I agree, Crystal. I don't like
plastic cheese. Yes, it is very.
It has
plastic
to be
cheese.
real mac and cheese.
It is definitely plastic cheese.
Yeah.
But he was a legitimate cheese person because he was a cheese wholesaler. But then when he left Canada, immigrated to Buffalo, and he was forced out of cheese wholesaling by his partners. So he made a new business in Chicago, selling cheese from a horse-drawn wagon.
So he was a carter of cheese.
He was a carter of cheese. There we go.
See how I tied that all in?
I love that. Yeah. And then in 1914, he did develop the process to pasteurize cheese so it would resist spoiling and could be shipped long distances. And then, form the company and the plastic cheese and everything. And everything's great. But he was involved in the company up until his death. So that was very impressive. So how James is this James?
How James is James?
How James is James? No James is. No. We'll have to look at his ancestors.
Lisa Gervais. Processed cheese is what they call American cheese or Kraft slices.
Yeah.
Just.
And no James is in his ancestry, so that's not very James.
No.
So
wait. Let me get my drum roll up, man.
Okay, no, but there's one more James.
Oh, I thought that was it.
That's all the official ones. But I was not happy with the lack of James for our James profiles.
You have to be happy.
I did a WikiTree Plus search for people whose first name was James, who were born, married, and died in Jamestown. And there are 4 people.
James Dillard is one of them.
There's James Carr, James Pilkington, James Grinnell, and James Colleen Giltonen.
Wow.
And the winner, the most James of all those Jameses, is James Carr, who was born in Jamestown, died in Jamestown, married his wife in Jamestown, Newport, Rhode Island.
Had a James
as a son. And let's look at his, I didn't check his, we can show his ancestors. So his ancestors don't have any James in them, but look at his descendants.
Wow.
He has a total of 15 Jameses between his son. He's got some grandsons. He's got some great-grandsons, some great-great-grandsons, and some sons-in-laws and stuff.
Still doesn't beat June, man.
So he's got, for this is James, James. He had 3 points for his places. He doesn't have any parent. He has 1 child, and then he had 15 descendants. So let's see. So he has a score of 19. He ties June.
He's tied with June. All right.
There we go. There's your James report for today.
Wow. You guys make a tough act to follow.
Don't worry, we'll act up in your section.
Thank you. We've got 2 photos. So let me get over there and make this a little bigger. So again, we're our theme is portraits, and this lovely lady is let's see, John Thompson submitted this photo. Her name was Nora Isabella Thompson, youngest daughter of Surgeon General John Alexander William Thompson. There's a mouthful. And she was a great friend of his grandmother, her sister-in-law. So I guess there's some relation there, but it's also some marriage. And Florence, his grandmother, named her only daughter Nora in honor of her friend. And after reviewing, he says he has a whole bunch of correspondence, letters between these two, and he realizes that there's not only an Aunt Nora, but also the great Aunt Nora. And I think this is great Aunt Nora, who lived in this portrait was done in Cheltenham, so really gorgeous. And then I thought, oh no, I was going to show you. Okay, here I am. I was going to show you my portrait.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
That is not you, Betsy.
That doesn't look like you.
You need to get your glasses back.
This is my contribution to the portrait discussion.
Okay.
This is my fourth great grandfather, Reuben Perkins, and he founded the town of Canastota, where his family had come from Connecticut. And when he was young, they came to Madison County, New York, and bought the land that became Canastota. So the family was there for quite a while. So when I visited Canastota, I was prepared to throw down that fact if I was, given a parking ticket or something.
No.
Do you know who I am?
Leave me alone.
Yeah, that's right.
The fourth great granddaughter. So I took this photo. This portrait is hanging in the Canastota Public Library. So I took a picture of it. And so let's see. Moving on to the tips. I have tips, and then we have some ancestors to celebrate. And so let me put this in the chat. This is a G2G post. It's your turn, everyone. It's your turn to share a tip. Please answer. I know you've all got hacks, so don't hold out on us, because we'd like to use the hive mind to take everybody up a notch with our
hive mind.
The hive mind.
We are Borg.
So I've already got a couple of great responses. I'm just going to do one a week.
Yay.
Yep. And this one comes from David Randall. So I'm going to go back. I know I haven't switched my screen yet. Okay. So David, and I think David's in the chat, right? Am I right? Well, anyway, I saw him sneak in.
Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
He is here.
Okay, fantastic. So he gave me a very specific example. So I'm going to follow. Okay, so he said, here's a simple tip for finding relatives with common names. So supposing you're looking for your ancestor named Alexander Thomas Smith.
Are you meaning to have something on your screen there, Betsy?
Do you have...
we see the search.
That's what I mean.
Oh, okay, good.
This tip is all about searching. Okay. So we're going to search. We're looking for Alexander Thomas Smith. We're going to search for Alexander Smith. And let's see what happens.
And I bet there are quite a few of those.
Mm-hmm.
Alexander Smith.
Yep.
And that's even one more than David told me we would find.
Oh, really?
146.
Someone must have added one.
Someone added one. So.
Okay. And so this is enough to make your head explode. So we don't want to do that. So the tip is, instead of searching for Alexander Smith, you should search for Thomas Smith. Let's go back and do that. The middle
would
So
name.
expect
search on the
Thomas Smith
middle
would be
name
even more.
instead of the
Yeah.
forename.
Okay. And
That's worse.
6,000.
at first, wait a minute. You think this is 3 times as bad.
Yeah.
But if you sort alphabetically
by first name.
Uh,
Ah.
and look,
That's a cool
look
trick,
how many.
David.
I know. Thank you, David. Look,
Mhm.
there are only 2 Alexander Thomas Smiths.
I am a 10-year as of December WikiTreeer, and I just learned a new trick.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's
I
a
did.
very cool trick.
Yes, I
Yeah.
did.
We love it. Thank you,
That's right.
David.
Now,
So,
if you had typed in Alexander Thomas, both in the first name field, what would you get?
Let's see what happens. Alexander.
I don't think it helps. I do that all the time, and it doesn't help.
Yeah.
Whoa, worse.
Yeah.
Worse.
Yeah.
Worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have done the exact thing you should not do a lot. Just saying.
Okay, so do as David does.
Yes.
I like
Your
that
search-
tip, David.
Yeah, thank
That's
you.
very impressive.
So, all right. Well, celebrating our ancestors. Let's see. We've got a birth, a death, and a marriage. So Kevin Cross. I don't think he's with us this morning, but so I'm doing this a little bit early because remember we're not going to do a Saturday Roundup livecast next weekend because of Source-a-thon. Yeah. So I'm skipping ahead to September 30th, which is the shared birthday of Kevin and his 4th great aunt, Permelia Susan Lamberth Matthews. So happy birthday to Kevin and his 4th great grandaunt.
Nice.
So, and then our next person, let's see. Next is Eric Varva, and I did see Eric come in. This is his great grandaunt Jane Hughes, who died of, and I'm going to go. Here we go to Jane. Jane died of rheumatic fever while sailing home to Ireland after visiting the U.S. During September. So she was born and raised in Ireland. She had a brother who emigrated to America. She had gone to visit him, and she very, very sadly died on the passage home. Let's see. I guess all the information, the story is on the profile. She departed. Yeah, this was in 1894, and visiting her brother who lived in Brooklyn, and then came back in late September. So very sadly. And then finally, we have a marriage to celebrate. This is, let's see, Victor.
Victor.
Yeah. Happy timestamp, Victor.
Happy timestamp. That's right.
His Rose great grandparents. Let me go to their profiles. So he says, "Are you seeing Tabitha?"
Mm-hmm.
We think we are. You need to scroll up
Scroll up just a little bit.
Okay.
Scroll up.
There you are.
There you go.
You are seeing Tabitha, or possibly Tabitha, but I think it's probably Tabitha, Illinois. And this couple was born in September. So he found them. And Tabitha was the ancestor who originally connected Victor to the main tree on WikiTree back in 2021.
Nice.
So, yeah. And he was able to find them throughout the censuses. They did divorce, but yeah. Anyway, so those are our ancestors. Thank you, Victor. And everybody else, let's see who contributed, Kevin and Eric and everybody in previous weeks.
And what we have now is information about what's coming up in the. We're not going to be here next week. I know that's sad, but we will be here. We're just not going to be in this format. There you go.
We'll be around the clock.
Because it's not a thon again. All right. So we've got registered now for the Source-a-thon. When does that cut off? I think Wednesday?
Wednesday.
Yeah, so you got to get yourself registered before then. We do have celebrating Paul Beck, 10 years of service as part of the team at WikiTree. He does a lot of stuff behind the scenes. So congratulations, Paul. What's happening around the tree in September? Today is as my screen share is changing good. So let's see. Today is the 23rd. Is that right?
Yep.
Saturday roundup. We've got the data doctors, the German Stammtisch coming up on the 28th, and the weekend chat, and then the Source-a-thon starts up. And really, there's nothing else to put up there but the Source-a-thon.
Hey, Mags, can I contribute something about Source-a-thon?
No. Yes.
Thanks. We have 38 teams for Source-a-thon, but 11 of them have fewer than 10 members.
Yes, they do.
So if you're looking for a team, please consider Banyan Tree, emphasis on India, Magyarfa, emphasis on Hungary, Musty Dusty, caveat, you need to have pre-1500 certification because they deal in the very old Musty Dusty profiles. Smoking Snakes, Brazil, Team Austria, French Fries, I love that name.
That's great.
Globetrotters, if you want to just be everywhere. South African Springboks, Team L'Chaim, Team Massachusetts, and Germany Genies.
I had that on my list. Thank you very much, Betsy.
Sorry, I jumped the gun.
You jumped the gun, but that's okay. You can jump the gun. The other thing that we want to share with you is what's happening in social media. So I need to get that shared. There we go. This one. There we go. Nope, that's not right. That one. This one. Yep. Woo! The social media tab from the Ambassadors Project does a great job of showing us how we can share our information to our social media, Mastodon or Twitter or X or whoever else. Brunson is the upcoming one-name study. Campodolcino. Lombardi is the one-place study coming up on Wednesday. And the event showcase, of course, is the Source-a-thon. Yay! So if you are so inclined, please jump over and do some sharing of information for us. We love sharing our Saturday morning with you. We love sharing our fun WikiTree time with you. And we will see you again in 2 weeks. And is that the weekend that we're going to be like, yeah. So
You're leaving me.
Yeah. Greg and I are going to both be at a conference in Maryland. And we will probably pop in to say hi, I'm thinking. Just depending on the schedule. It may be me videoing Greg from afar. Who knows?
Yeah, that's right.
So we will see you next week with Betsy here. I think that Sandy's going to jump in. Sarah may be here. Who knows?
Eowyn? Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
It might be something fun. So we will see you again.
It will be fun.
Not this week, but we'll see you soon.
Yeah, we'll see you soon.
We'll see you very, very soon.
Have a great weekend, everyone.
Yep.
Do have a great weekend.